Welcome to another edition of Panther Sports Talk right here on EIU, our first outside edition of the year, Coach, and I know you got to be happy about that. We're joined by EIU softball coach Kim Schuette. I'm Rich Moser, your host this week. We're going to talk to baseball coach Jimmy Schmitz in just a little while, but Coach, another home weekend, some good weather this past weekend, and you guys are now, I think, 8-0 at home.
I didn't even realize that we were that at home, but it sure is nice to be back at Glenn Williams Field. You know, sleeping on your own bed, having your own fans out there. We had awesome fan support this weekend, and like you said, the weather was great.
And you guys started out, you played a little bit different of schedule because Mother Nature's played some tricks on you guys earlier in the year. You added a doubleheader with St. Louis. You went over there on last Wednesday, got a split over there, came back and had a non-conference game with Southern, and were able to actually win that game in less than regulation time with an 8-0 win. So that momentum had to be good going into another conference series.
That was, you know, the SLU trip was good because the first game we kind of got a wake-up call, which happened at the right time. And then the second game we started playing a little bit better, took that into Southern, and that was an awesome game. I think that was a real quick game, and people are surprised it was over, but it was a good win.
Now, and that's a team that I know, St. Louis and more so much Southern Illinois, when you guys are recruiting, you guys recruit against teams like that. So while you're based and you play in the Ohio Valley Conference, really, I don't think a lot of people realize your recruiting base is when you guys play Southern and Western and Illinois State and some of those Chicago schools, Indiana State. So anytime you can get a non-conference victory against that, it chalks one up for you in the recruiting column.
You are so right. We recruit against all those Illinois teams. You know, there's 13 Division I Illinois schools, and Southern is a big competitor. Carrie does a great job and always has a good, respectable program. So it was nice to win against them.
Now, one of the unsung heroes, but I guess since you coach her, you know a little bit about it, Hannah Minica has really come into her own this year. I know last year she transferred mid-year from a junior college, and she had a little bit of those, I guess, hiccups that junior college kids seems to have their first semester when they're coming to play, really no matter what sport. And this year she's really settled in and found her groove and maybe has even exceeded your expectations.
She has. Last year I would agree with you. I don't know if intimidation is a factor or maybe just not quite settled in last year. And she kind of was a shadow to Madej. But at the end of the year, she had some big goals at the end of our year meeting, and she had made a decision at that point forward on what she wanted to do this year. And I knew she was ready to come out of the gates and do those things, but you're right, she's done even more.
Now, and I don't know if one of her goals was to lead the NCAA in strikeouts, but she's right up there. 40 strikeouts this weekend, I mean, almost unheard of.
Yeah, her ball was moving, and you know, sometimes we kind of joke about it. I said, well, what's going on there? And she's like, I don't know. And I guess sometimes, you know, you let your skills kind of go, and but don't get me wrong, that kid has worked so hard. You know, she comes from off the farm, throwing into the silos, and throws with me even before doubleheaders in the morning. So she's worked hard, and she deserves every bit of it. And
now, while you guys have done really well in the circle and that position solidified with Minica and then Stephanie Madej, who was the #1 last year, really gives you a comparable #2. So if things aren't going well, you know you have a backup. But offensively is where you guys have really been steady this year, and I know it's 1-9. I watched the game the other day, and your #1 hitter, Melise Brown's hitting about 250, which is not average for her, but the girls behind her are just there to pick her up.
Yeah, it's hard to, I think it's hard to play us right now. It's hard because, you know, you work hard on your scouting report on the big names, but then all of a sudden these other kids kind of come out of nowhere. And that's what's been happening these last few weeks is our 2, our 3, our 5, our 6, our 7, our 9, or whoever. I think there were a couple games this past week where almost every kid who played got a hit, and that's so nice to see. You know, don't get me wrong, we've had some big swingers with Hannah Cole and Carly Willert really driving the ball, and Brooke Owens picking up the runs. But with Bailey Odell and her grand slams lately, and, you know, Ashley Westover is just a tough out. So anytime we can have lots of people to contribute and lots of people for them to worry about, it's great.
Now, you talked a little bit about Hannah Cole there. She's really settled in as your everyday catcher, and that's different for you the last couple of years where you've really platooned catchers based a lot of times maybe on the pitching for the other team or the pitcher for our team, but Hannah Cole, evidently you feel confident that she can handle everybody on the staff.
Yeah, she's done a nice job. She works really well with Minica, and traditionally lately we have had her catch that first game with Meniga and have her play right field with Wood catching again with Madej. So that's really worked well because Madej is used to catching with Wood, and Wood's used to that little outside stuff she throws. But Hannah Cole, similar to Hannah Meniga last year, at the end of that meeting said, you know, Coach, I can do more. And she kind of made up her mind, and she really worked her butt off this summer and has proven herself, and I think a lot of other people, that she's a good athlete.
Now, you guys fast forward to this week. You return to conference action, but conference action on the road. You're going to play at Illinois, a non-conference game on Tuesday, and then you're going to go play against SEMO. And while their record is not what it's been in the past, they're still one of the teams that traditionally has been really strong in softball.
They are. You know, Illinois is hard to play at their place. They're not having a great year, but they're tough to play. But you're right. Every time we go to SEMO, everybody would always ask me, who's your rival? Well, my answer is always who's ever in the other dugout. But at the same time, SEMO's always been that close team to us who we travel one day. This will be the first time we go all weekend with them. And it's always a battle at their place, always. So no matter if we're having a great year or they're having a great year, our games are always a battle back and forth.
Now, you're going to get in a little bit different situation this week where you're going to play 4 games but 4 solo dates. Is that a little bit different, a little easier maybe for a coach and for players, to where it's not doubleheader, go home, rest for a little while, come back, doubleheader the next day?
Yeah, I think nothing's ever easy. And we talk about, you know, no win is ever going to fall in our lap, and everybody wants to get us now. But absolutely, we need a day off. We're going to practice and go get Illinois and then take a day off and then prepare for SEMO. But last week was quite a few games, especially for this weekend, and I know our kids need a little bit of rest, but at the same time you want to keep the train rolling. So they're excited and the vibe is good, and knock on wood, we keep on going.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck in those games. We will talk to you next week. Right now, the Panthers 13-1 in the conference, leading the league. Going to try to get some road wins this weekend and continue to lead the OVC Western Division. Be right back with This Week in EIU Athletics.
Garoppolo in the shotgun, empty backfield, 3rd and 9. He sets up, 4-man rush. He's going to throw into the end zone. Touchdown, Chris Wright.
Taken away by West Dixon in the front court, into the defense, scores, and a foul.
Eastern Illinois Panther Sports on WEIU are brought to you by the students of WEIU TV Sports. The live sports production team consists of students from Eastern Illinois University, Lakeland College, and surrounding area high schools. WEIU is your home for Panther Sports. Panther fans, here's what's going on in Panther athletics. Baseball going 4-0 last week, all 4 wins coming at Coaches Stadium. They won 20-2 over Illinois State and a 3-game series sweep over Murray State, 6-3, 15-8, and 16-6. The Panthers are now 10-18 overall and 3-8 in the OVC. Softball continued their winning ways, going 6-1 last week to improve their overall record to 25-10 and 13-1 in the OVC. 5 of the 6 wins came at Williams Field, 8-0 over Southern Illinois, and doubleheader sweeps over OVC rivals Belmont and Tennessee State. Outdoor track competed at the Miami, Ohio Relays. The men placed 3rd overall, as well as the women placing 3rd overall. 9 Panthers posted 1st place finishes. Men's tennis went 0-3 last week, all 3 coming on the road at SIU Edwardsville, Jacksonville State, and Tennessee Tech. Women's tennis with a split last week on the road. They won 4-3 at SIU Edwardsville and fell 5-2 at Jacksonville State. They are now 5-2 in the OVC. Men's golf placed 20th at the Arkansas State Invite. The top Panther finisher was Kevin Flack in 39th place. Now here's what to watch for this week. On Wednesday, prior to the airing of this show, baseball took on Illinois College. For the result and stats of that game, check out EIUPanthers.com. On Friday, baseball begins a 3-game series in Cookeville, Tennessee as EIU takes on OVC rival Tennessee Tech. On Saturday, track is at the Western Kentucky Hilltopper Relay starting at 9 o'clock. Men's and women's tennis are at Darling Courts to take on Eastern Kentucky. The women's match is starting at 10, the men's starting at 2. Softball is in Cape Girardeau, Missouri for a doubleheader with Southeast Missouri State starting at 1 o'clock. Baseball with their 2nd game of their 3-game series at Tennessee Tech. And EIU Athletics will host the Spring Fling at Lance Arena starting at 6 o'clock. On Sunday, men's golf begins a 3-day run at the Tennessee State Invite. Men's and women's tennis back at Darling Courts for a second straight day as they take on OVC rival Morehead State. Softball wraps up their 3-game series at Southeast Missouri State, and baseball wraps up their 3-game series at Tennessee Tech. On Monday, men's golf with their second day of competition at the Tennessee State Invite. On Tuesday, men's golf wraps up their competition at the Tennessee State Invite, and baseball with a night game at St. Louis. For Panther Sports Talk, I'm Ramin Karbasioun. WEIU is your home for Eastern Illinois Panther sports. Panther football.
Running around the right end on a reverse, throws a pass, and it is caught. The Panthers win. Laura, of all people, throws the winning pass.
Panther basketball.
6 and shoot. Out to Piper.
Long three. Panthers lead.
Panther greats. WEIU is your home for Panther sports.
Game on the line, 2-point conversion. They throw it to Laura, running around the right end on a reverse, throws a pass, and it is caught. The Panthers win.
WEIU is your home for Eastern Illinois Panther football. Eric Laura and Jimmy Garoppolo lead the Panthers' potent offense in 2013 as EIU looks to repeat as OVC champs. It's Eastern Illinois Panther football coming in September on WEIU.
Welcome back to Panther Sports Talk. We're now joined by EIU baseball coach Jimmy Schmitz. And Coach, we're in front of your stadium here, which has been this past week a really good place to be for the Panthers.
It has. Obviously, I think we're 5-2 at home. Everybody knows we play on the road a lot, but our guys feel comfortable in our stadium, as most people do. But just to have a good series, good weather, and obviously 3 pretty impressive wins, we really needed it in terms of where we were. Especially in the league standings. So gives our guys some confidence here with 6 weekends to go.
Now, you started off and you kind of got the train rolling on Wednesday when you guys played Illinois State, and the bats came out, and they came out early. You scored 6 in the first, 5 in the second, and really got up. And I know I've watched your team a little bit, and I've talked to you a couple times. The guys seem to, I guess, play a little bit looser when they get that first run on the board, and kind of things just kind of clicked together, and it started on Wednesday where you guys scored 20 runs against the Redbirds.
Yeah, and they threw a good arm. I mean, a freshman, we recruited hard, and we had a meeting on Monday, and it's kind of complicated, but we try to make it simple for the guys because it has been a little pressure. We don't not getting the big hit, or the pitchers need to make a great pitch, and it's just been one thing after the other. And we made our approach to hitting a little bit more simpler, and kind of said, hey, let's do this, and the guys have responded well. And like I said, Wednesday wind was blowing out crazy, Friday out, but Saturday and Sunday not, and we still scored a lot of runs. So their approach to hitting carried over to those 2 games too.
Now, you came back on Friday, you played Murray State, you had a 3-game series, you guys ended up sweeping them, but Friday's game was really pivotal. It was kind of a back-and-forth game, and I know you've kind of mentioned, and teams seem to go this way, that you kind of have to get that first win in the column for other wins to come easier, and you guys were able to, I guess, get that first win, and then the second games on Saturday and Sunday, guys a little bit looser, and the results came out, and you got big wins both those days.
Yeah, and we say it with everything. With hitting, you need the big RBI, the big clutch hit for the other, hitting's contagious. Friday was an unbelievable game. Andrew Grahn pitched so well for us, got us into that area. Ben Kennedy did a great job. George Kolosik, 2 on, 2 strikeouts. So we've been there. J-State, same thing. We've been there. We've been so close. We just, told the simple story, like, hang in there. We're going to get this thing going. If you don't hang in there, it's never going to get rolling. So, really a great job by the pitching staff on Friday. We did score them a couple runs right there at the end, and then Saturday on Sunday offensively, we really came alive. So, it's kind of something we wish would have happened 3 to 4 weeks ago, but you got to keep plugging away until it does, and I'm proud of the guys how they have.
Now, as a team this past week, you guys hit over 400, and the key part of that, and I know something that as a coach you knew it was going to come, is just kind of matter, is the 3-4-5 in the lineup. Trayson Vavra, Brant Volek, and Nick Priestman all really had swung really good bats this weekend and came up with those big hits.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we did something on the board to them, like I said, on Monday, and did not try to make those guys feel bad, but it's, if your players, your main players don't play well, or your main pitchers don't pitch well, you're not going to have a good year. And it was just a nice way of saying they needed to step up and take some more aggressive swings in certain counts, and they looked a little timid. So, to me, exactly, Trey Valvera is really starting to carry us, taking the pressure off of Brandt. And then Nick Priestman, we switched him in the 5 slot. He's more of a leadoff kind of guy, but he is really been aggressive and a lot of good RBIs. So, we like the lineup. Dimitri Taylor, a big home run on Wednesday to kind of get us going. Canberra, who earlier we benched because he just wasn't doing anything producing wise, and he comes out and gets, I think, 6 hits in 2 games. So, the meeting was good. It was one of we need to get better in some areas, and guys responded well to that. Instead of getting negative or defensive, they just said, hey, let's kind of get going. So the middle guys did great, but so did the other guys getting on base. Base runners are it. If you don't get on, you can't knock them in. So people understood their roles a little better.
Now defensively, you guys also getting a lot more comfortable out there. I know that was kind of one of the key areas where you talked about not getting the timely hits at Jacksonville State, but also kind of some untimely errors cost you that opportunity to get a win or maybe 2 down in there at Jacksonville State. That wasn't the case here this past weekend. You guys played really well defensively, and so Brant Volek may be the best defensive third baseman in the league and maybe one of the best in the country.
He really is. And, he had a big error at J-State, and after the game, we just met with him and told him he is the best third baseman I've ever coached defensively. Dane Sauer at shortstop, that's been a position that's really we've not done well. And he had one ball that kind of came up on him, but boy, he just played great defense. So he knows I'm batting in the 9th slot, and he's going to do the job in playing defense. And then Mitch Gasparo, the freshman there at second base, just hovered balls but made sure he got all the outs. So, we think we made the right decision with regard to defense, and it seems like right now it's really working.
Now, you guys move forward this weekend. You're back on the road again for a couple of the games. You played Illinois on Tuesday, a home afternoon game a little bit earlier, 2 o'clock on Wednesday against Illinois College. And then you guys head to Tennessee Tech, a team that's, I guess, surprising a few people with where they're at in the OVC race right now.
Yeah, Tuesday's going to be, the fun game. It's at Illinois. They're playing really well, 19-9, I think, right now. They just run like crazy. They have like 60 stolen bases. We don't have that in 2 years. And so we're going to have to really do a good job of that. Coach Anderson, the pitching coach, has done a great job with our staff. Illinois College, we're going to get other people in. But this is the weekend on the road at Tech. I don't know what they did this weekend, but they were 10-2 going into this weekend, having some really good stats. So we got our confidence, and now let's kind of see if we can carry it over and be a little bit more week in, week out, more consistent.
All right, Coach, well, best of luck with that. We'll talk to you next week after the series at Tennessee Tech. We're going to wrap up this week's show right here on Panther Sports Talk on WIU with some highlights. Since we had a lot of baseball, a lot of softball at home this weekend, these will be some of the highlights from that. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Strike 2.